Hello, I'm K Schwabauer. Today we're going to take a look at questioning strategies and how they grow higher order skills, encourage discussion, and promote inquiry and critical thinking in younger students. The depth of knowledge levels include level 1, recall and reproduction. Level 2 is skills and concepts. Level 3 is short-term strategic thinking, and level 4 is extended thinking. For this presentation, we will connect to a kindergarten activity that focuses on the social studies standards KC 101, identify and explain reasons for rules at home and in school. We will also talk about rules in the community. This will also connect to the art standards, our VA K4, select subject matter and communicate a personal story in painting or in a drawing. The depth of knowledge level 1, recall, tells that students will retrieve or reproduce basic facts, vocabulary, or simple procedures. To connect this to our learning standard activity, students will be able to recall facts about rules and familiar routines. Question types included are identifying, naming, lists, point to, and showing. Probing questions, Probing questions we as a teacher can ask include, what is a rule? Can you name a rule that we follow in our classroom? What rule did the character forget in the story that we just heard? Who helps us remember the rules at school? What materials will you need along with your group to make a poster for the school? Level 2, Skills and Concepts, explains that students will classify, compare, organize, or explain simple relationships. To connect this to our activities, students will plan their posters or collages as they talk about why rules help the community and pick out which rules they will display or represent visually in their project. Question types include how, why, sorting questions, comparing, and grouping questions. Level 2 probing questions teachers can ask include, why do we need the rule? Take turns. How does a home rule differ from a school rule? Which rule helps us stay safe? How did your group decide to choose what rule to draw about? And finally, can you sort these pictures into following rules and not following rules piles? Level 3 is strategic thinking, and it explains that students will justify thinking by make predictions or explain cause and effect. This connects to our activity as students will need to justify their thinking and analyze the cause and or effect. Questions include, why do you think something? What evidence do you have about this? And what would happen if a particular situation happened? Questions at level 3 that you might ask include, what would happen if nobody follows the be safe rule at school? What evidence in your poster shows cooperation within your group when you were working on it? Why did your group choose to show this rule? How did you and your group solve disagreements about what to draw? And what clues in the story helped you understand why rules matter? Our final depth of knowledge level is number 4, extended thinking. This level tells us that students should apply learning to new contexts, design solutions, or synthesize ideas. This connects to our activity as students extend their understanding via teaching peers by posting their artwork, poster collages throughout the school. Question types include creative, design, apply, imagine, and teach. Level 4 questions include, how could you teach another class about rules using your poster? How might rules change if you were at the park, on the bus, or at the library? What new rule would you add to our classroom community? How could you redesign your poster to show these rules at home too? And how can we share our posters to help our whole school learn? Now we'll take a look at a couple of assessment strategies. The first is a formative assessment strategy that pairs two together, turn and talk along with sketch and check. Once the teacher has completed a read aloud, students are prompted to turn and talk, working together to answer a probing question from the depth of knowledge level questions 1 or 2. Examples include, what rule did you hear in the story? A level 1 question. A level 1 question. A level 2 example is, what is the rule? Why is the rule important? These questions work because they are developmentally appropriate for kindergarten students. English language learners are also supported via oral language and visuals, and teachers are provided with immediate insight into students' comprehension of this. A summative assessment strategy that can be used is tasking small groups with creating a collaborative poster paired with an oral explanation. Groups will take turns presenting or sharing their poster collages with their teacher and their classmates, and then they will have to answer 2 questions chosen by the teacher, one from a depth of knowledge question in level 3, such as, how does your poster show cooperation? And one from a depth of knowledge question in level 4, like, how could your poster help other students learn the rules? These are appropriate as they aid in measuring understanding via art, language, and reasoning. Additionally, they align with the visual art standard, communicating a personal story, and promote and encourage authentic communication and community building. Next is a digital tool we will be looking at. 2, the students can use to support them in growing their own higher order questioning skills, abilities to stimulate discussions and promote inquiry and critical thinking. The first tool is Seesaw. Using Seesaw, students can record themselves explaining their rule drawing. Teachers can also use Seesaw by creating tasks where they can leave probing questions as audio prompts for their students. Seesaw even has options that help families get involved, where families can respond to the students' work, in turn extending the conversation beyond just the school. They can talk about it at home. Seesaw works for kindergarten as it is multimodal, allowing drawing, voice, and photo options. It also supports expressive language development and encourages reflection and ownership of learning. The second digital tool I'd like to share today is FigJam. FigJam supports inquiry as teachers can create images for sorting tasks, such as having students sort images of following the rules versus rule breaking. Groups can also go on and brainstorm rule ideas before they move on to creating their poster collage. Additionally, teachers can embed depth of knowledge level 2 through 4 questions onto sticky notes for students to see. FigJam works as it is a visual and collaborative tool, and it supports symbolic and thinking and encourages discussion and decision making. To connect it all back together, we see that depth of knowledge levels guide intentional questioning while probing questions that deepen understanding of rules and community. Looking at assessments, we see that both formative and summative assessments capture learning via art and discussion. Using digital tools aids in amplifying inquiry, collaboration, and student voice. And finally, integration strengthens real-world connections and civic understanding. Thank you so much for joining and participating today. I'll be sharing this presentation with everyone later on this afternoon. Have a great day, and please find my references at the end of this presentation.